Yo, what's good? Man, I really like this song. Yo, hit that like button. We got to push the algorithm. I'm going to let my hair down. Ah. Yo. I'm going to let this play. This is good. Just realized you probably couldn't hear that. Okay, all right. Okay. She said, nope. All right. What's good? All right. How's everyone doing? How is everyone doing? See, it's 12:07. Man, coming at you like a 10-ton truck. Exactly. What's good, bro? Lysergix, how you doing? Cyranic, Nicole, hi, babe. Can y'all hear me okay? Everything sounding good? All right. Yo, if y'all could share the stream. Oh, it's not following me. If y'all could share the stream and hit that like button, it really, really helps with the algorithm. Man, I gotta say, I had the craziest week. So, aside from producing music, I do video work on the side, and I got hired to do some lifestyle videos for student housing complexes in Michigan, and Nicole manages the properties, so she came with me, and she was like my little assistant director. It was fun. But on our way back from Michigan, we flew into Charlotte, and there was like this crazy storm in Charlotte, and we get off the plane, and every single flight is canceled. It was like WHOiSEE in that shit. It was crazy. And there was no hotel rooms because it's Labor Day weekend, and all the flights got canceled. No rental cars, so we're about 3.5 hours from Charlotte, so we couldn't get a rental car and just drive home. We had to go like way out into the boonies to get like the very last hotel room that was available. So yeah, it took us about a day and a half to recover from that, but I think we're finally back to zero. Oh, and I got this. We went to this like vintage shop. Check this shit out. Can you focus on it? Why is it changing color like that? Is it gonna do it? Can you see it? Oh, I don't know why it's not focusing, but it's a Rolex spoon ring, and I guess Rolex used to make spoons to anyone and gave them to anyone who bought their watches, and they have been turned. It's like an old spoon. It's hard to tell because it won't focus in on it. Oh, is it gonna do it? There it goes. It says Rolex on it. Rolex, baby. Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for everyone tuning in. Got a few people here, so I'm gonna jump over to the browser. First thing I want to look at real quick. We have achieved 200 subscribers on YouTube. Yes, I'm so excited about that. It's weird because like a lot of the other profiles I'm on are like much higher than that. But man, for only doing this for a month and getting like almost 170 subscribers. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Please continue to like the videos and push the algorithm and stuff. I definitely want to make this a more central show for like EDM news and stuff. So subscribe on YouTube. Check me out on Spotify. Doing pretty good with the monthly listeners right now. We just dropped a remix for Flux Pavilion on Circus Records. Got an EP coming out pretty soon. Check me out on SoundCloud. And I really appreciate everyone continuing to support this stream. So drop your comments. We're going to be chatting for a little while. And hit that like button. I really appreciate it. And we're going to get to this first article here. Jump back over. This is from EDM.com. I didn't read into this article too much, just because it says it's pretty self-explanatory, but I definitely want to read into this because if you're not aware of who Fatman Scoop is, legendary rapper, from the mid 90s, early 2000s era, and probably even the early 90s, but he also kind of had a resurgence with a bunch of dance tracks, obviously was it the, I think Skrillex and that was like the first EDM thing I heard him do with Skrillex, and then everybody kind of started working with him after that. But this is really sad. So it says, Fatman Scoop dead at 53 after collapsing on stage. It says his music made us dance and embrace life with positivity. Yeah, like anytime you hear a Fatman Scoop vocal, it's just like hype. Like when an iconic voice. Fatman Scoop, the iconic hype man and hip hop artist, has tragically died after suffering a medical emergency and collapsing on stage during a concert Friday night in Connecticut. The rapper's death was confirmed in a statement shared by his family on his official Instagram page. He was 53, and that's really young, honestly. It is with profound. Last night, the world lost a radiant soul, a beacon of light on stage and in life. The famed recording artist, whose real name is Isaac Freeman III, was a beloved collaborator in the EDM community. His voice, a gravely force of nature that commanded dance floors worldwide. Featured in music by Skrillex, Hardwell, Laidback Luke, and many more electronic music icons. This is it sounds like maybe a heart attack or something. I don't know. It doesn't really give too many details. Oh, I thought that was the end of the article. I'm a dummy. Okay, here we go. That's him with Hardwell. Freeman's booming baritone and the uncanny ability to ignite crowds. His call and response hooks becoming ageless anthems of celebration, turning simple phrases into unforgettable party-starting mantras. His larger-than-life presence and unmistakable vocal delivery left an incredible mark on club culture, bridging genres and generations with the exuberance of a hype man extraordinaire. Lysergic said, I heard he had some famous last words on stage. Maybe it'll cover that, telling people to keep partying. Oh, man. Oh, my gosh. So, while it was happening, man, that's... Yeah. I'm sure something will, videos or whatever, will surface at some point. Fatman Scoop was not just a world-class performer. He was a father, brother, uncle, and friend, Freeman's family wrote. He was the laughter of our lives and a constant source of support, unwavering strength, and courage. Fatman Scoop was known to the world as the undisputed voice of the club. Yes, 100% true. His music made us dance and embrace life with positivity. His joy was infectious, and his generosity extended to all will be deeply missed but never forgotten. And here's the post. I guess it was an actual post, not just a story. But man, yeah, that's really rough. I'm curious about what you said, Lysergics, about his famous last words. But this is just really sad. I mean, we definitely, not only in the EDM community, but in the hip hop community as well, lost lost one of the Titans, and he just had such a recognizable voice that like he could be saying the most random things. Not that he did, but he could be, and it would still just like extra hype, extra hype. So, he praying for his family. I can't believe that. Well, we're gonna continue. Like I guess. Here we go. Yeah, this next one here. Virtual Riot, dubstep icon guy, opens up about touring sober in Candid. Speaking with Slamcast, Virtual Riot opened up about the transformative impact of sobriety on his life, career, sharing his journey from living in Los Angeles to teaching advanced music production and embracing a cleaner lifestyle. Living in LA for 8 years, Virtual Riot admits that he had every excuse to party to excess. I guess like going on 12 years. Next year will be 13. And the stigma that the EDM culture has, like with drug use and things like that, is not lost. And it's one of those like elephants in the room a lot of the time, especially as an artist where you're in these situations and you're just given all this stuff. Like people just go and get it for you, and it's very just kind of accessible on that side of the industry, being an artist or working in the industry. And I was, this is actually the first time I've like ever said anything about this like publicly, but I was addicted to cocaine for probably 7 years. And it was overcoming that. I've been sober from coke for about 2.5 years now. And overcoming that is one of those things that it's not just something that you just wake up and do. It usually takes some kind of divine intervention or moment of clarity where it's like, whoa, I really need to stop this. And I will give most of the credit to meeting my wife before we got married and having that perspective of like, oh, not everybody does this like I'm doing it. And it was something that I really struggled with. But there was and again, it wasn't like this like overnight thing. It was, I had a lot of help. And I had to be honest about where I really was with those things. And I had to communicate the desire and not understanding why I had the desire to just spend my money and time doing that. And my life, I didn't realize my life revolved around it, and I think that hurt my career in a lot of ways when I did the Mad Hatter project. And I think in some ways that was reflected in the music that I was putting out. You can kind of see a little bit towards if you scroll through the Mad Hatter discography, you can kind of see a little bit of a shift towards the end, which is where I ultimately decided to rebrand. But part of the rebrand into this project, into WHOiSEE, was this renewed sense of sobriety and this kind of clear-headed mindset that I had. And this is crazy. I've never actually talked about this like publicly. But I mean, if you've known me or if you're like good friends with me and you're watching this, like I'm sure we've talked extensively about this. But yeah, it was not something that I had ever experienced in my electronic music career, right? Was essentially being sober. And same thing with this article. I didn't really read too much of it because the subject matter itself I can really relate with. I feel like I can elaborate on a lot. It's interesting to hear, Virtual Riot's perspective on this, but I think like as an artist, you really got to have that self-discipline to continue to meet your goals, no matter how big or small they might be, and And some people can party and, do all that and keep their project going and all that. Me personally, I just like, I didn't see my career lasting much longer. It went going in the direction I was going. And my friends and family and my wife like really helped me see what they were seeing. And when you're in the middle of it, thank you, Lysergics. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was not an easy thing to overcome at all. Especially when you're just so used to it and it's just such not integral. But thank you, Megan. Thank you. I appreciate it. Miss you. And I love you. I miss you. But yeah, this is a touchy subject, and it's kind of one of those unspoken subjects in the industry where it's like nobody necessarily like judges you, but because in the EDM culture it's very just kind of out there, there is like an unspoken pressure of like, oh, you don't. I not as much these days, but when I first started, like that was like how you partook, but once I again, I had this kind of come to Jesus moment, literally. And I started going to church again and all this stuff. I was just able to gain a perspective of what it's that staying sober has strengthened his sense of discipline and helped him connect more deeply with his craft. He likens going sober as a DJ to exposure therapy because you can't control what others are doing at your shows, but provides a situational mechanism for building your own sense of discipline. And I kind of read that while I was talking. And that was something that also I struggle with as well, where it was like, I don't need to do those things to be good at making music. I don't need to be on Adderall. I don't need to be on cocaine. I don't need to be stoned on weed to be a good music producer. But I had built the way I know making music around also my journey into doing those things, smoking weed, taking Adderall, doing coke, rolling at shows. Like it was like just both of those things grew kind of together, and that was the problem in the Mad Hatter project. That was one of the problems, not the only. But it was, I think the rebrand was like a symbolic of my breakaway from who I used to be in that sense. And in this new light that I see myself in. I mean, it took me, I was lucky when I rebranded, I had probably 10 songs that were ready to go, release ready. But it took me about 6 to 8 months to figure out what producing without those things, without Adderall, or going to shows without, getting high, or, going to the bathroom to hit cocaine or something. Like it was like a weird thing, but that exposure therapy, it was like this discipline, it was like, I know what my ultimate goal is in life, and that is to have a successful music project. And the drugs will literally keep me from that, and there was one moment that I can really recall. And I did a DJ gig in Austin. It wasn't like an EDM show. It was kind of just a club night. We were DJing for like 5 hours. And with that, we're getting drinks handed to us and whatnot. I had been offered, I had been off of, coke for probably 8 months, maybe a year at this point. It's hard to say, but, I was offered, we go to the bathroom, whatever, and I'm like about to do it. And I literally am in the bathroom and I'm grown ass man. I start crying. I'm like, oh, I can't do it. And I like give it back. And I left. I didn't even get paid that night or anything. Like it was, but that is the moment that I stand on. Even though I was a year, separated from actually doing it, it was like that moment that I was able to define the discipline of like, yeah, I don't need this. And this new project's going well, and I'm making music that I feel better about, and I'm able to like put on a better show. I'm able to connect with people at shows. I'm able to do all these things better because I'm in like a better state of mind, you know? And I think not every person needs to be like completely sober to have like a successful project or to make things happen. But knowing yourself to a degree where it's like, not for me, that's really, says a lot about your maturity, you know? And I'm going to continue here. Virtual Riot says he also found support in a familiar cohort of high-profile DJs who have embraced society, like Ghastly, Barely Live, and Steve Aoki, providing him with a professional network that understands his journey. He emphasizes the importance of self-awareness and personal choice when it comes to sobriety. Everyone has enough conscience, enough of a moral compass to know if what you're doing is good for you or not. It's just about listening to that. This is crazy. I literally just said that. But, being sober and being an artist, I think, is a testament to how seriously you take it, especially when the stigma of the culture that you're, in is not, it's the stigma, not that the culture itself is centered around it, but there is a lot of temptation in any genre of the music industry to partake, right? It doesn't metal, country, who was it? Morgan Wallen, like he talks about, he's like one of the biggest country artists out there right now, talking about his sobriety and his struggles with that, and it's in his music as well. He said, "Didn't Avicii pass due to partying hard at his shows?" I know I don't know. There's a lot of speculation on exactly how he died. I From what I understand, it was an overdose. But I've also heard some darker theories about that. I don't really want to like elaborate too much and like get all triggered on the algorithm and stuff, but I think you can kind of see where I'm going with that. But I know that he struggled with that for sure. And artists and things like that, like even who was the actor, Matthew Perry. I think he died recently or last year or something from an OD as well. And like, if you go back and watch Friends, you can see like you can see the difference in Matthew Perry's struggle with that by if he's chunky or not. Like there's seasons where he's like skin and bones and, not skin and bones, but he's very, very skinny. And then like a season later, he'll just be like kind of like a little more chunky because he wasn't rail and blow all the time, but he still ended up, succumbing to that struggle, which is terrible, and I couldn't imagine, losing someone as iconic as, Virtual Riot, to something like an overdose. And like, thank God that he had, he came to his senses to that degree where he's like, this is not for me. I need to stop this. And some people can do those things and they have the self-control to not be pulled into, the addiction phase of things, and some people just can't, like myself and I guess Virtual Riot and other people, big top producer DJs that I've talked to in the past, and I think Millennium is like stone cold sober. Him and is it Said the Sky? I think they like met in rehab or something like that, and so they built that bond off of their journey through sobriety. But when I did the rebrand, it was kind of one of those things where I had something to attach this new journey to. And I really, really did have to relearn how to produce sober. It was honestly quite difficult, because I only knew one way to do it. And I literally thought I wouldn't be able to produce if I couldn't get stoned. Like this ability and this skill that I've been developing my entire life. I learned music as a kid, I wasn't doing drugs as a kid. I wasn't, I still had all of that innately, but I kind of had just muddied those waters by partaking a little too much in that part of the industry, you know? And it feels kind of good, like actually talking about it, because it's something that I struggle with silently, and kind of behind closed doors. So it honestly is like, this is like a very refreshing to like share this. So sorry if I get a little queasy or emotional, but this is a really big deal for me personally because it's something that I also went through. And I had to kind of rediscover my production discipline without drugs and things like that. And now, now I'm married. I got a kid on the way. And that's all more of a reason to just like not look back in that sense, And I need to set a good example for not only my son and my family, but I also teach people, right? And I probably wasn't setting the best example back in the day, continuing to like partake in that side of the industry and then like not. I think you can kind of see what I'm saying there. It's like it wasn't best for me to be doing that and also be an educator. And so, but yeah, this was one of those things that I feel like is very not hush hush, but people just don't talk about it, especially and then all of a sudden it becomes a subject when people die, and I think we Virtual Riot not necessarily dodged a bullet, but with people who really really struggle with addiction, I mean it's kind of only a matter of time. There's got to be something that intervenes and that gets you out of that mindset and realize that you're just killing yourself. And then what started off as fun or different turns into you just burying things and numbing yourself to a much, much bigger problem. Which is, again, it took me a long, long time to really separate myself and be like, okay, I'm done with that. And so props to Virtual Riot, not only for achieving sobriety, but to be open about it, and like to open up a conversation, which has now led me to like open up about my journey and experience with that. And, so bravo, man. Okay. All right. That was sticky. Let's, where's my mouse? Here it is. Okay. So this is an article. This next one is an article I covered last week. But I had more to say about it than I realized, because I got off stream and I watched this clip back and I was like, actually, I didn't quite like think all the way through. So I'm going to click back over here. Okay. So Outkast filed a trademark infringement lawsuit against ATLiens. And this is kind of crazy. So you can watch the stream back from last week. I'm probably going to stitch what I'm doing right now and last week's video into a video, and we can go and watch that. But if you don't want to watch last week's stream or whatever, but it says Andre 3000 and Big Boy, who comprise the iconic hip-hop duo Outkast, have launched a trademark infringement lawsuit against the electronic music duo ATLiens. So essentially, right, Outkast had, I think it was their second album, ATLiens, and what was it? Yeah, sorry, lost my train of thought. They had their second album, ATLiens, which had a bunch of bangers on it. I think it was like mid-90s, late 90s when that came out. And this is kind of what I'll say about that. I'm going to do this. ATLiens. Let's look at pictures of this. Because what they're saying... Can we zoom in here? There we go. Let me... why can you not see my mouse? This is annoying. Okay, here we go. Perfect. Right, so one thing that Outkast is saying here is that, okay, my face is blocking blocking one of them, but it doesn't really matter. Right? So Outkast is saying that they, the mask could potentially confuse people into thinking that ATLiens is Big Boy and Andre 3000. Mind you, for the last year, I feel like I've been seeing videos of Andre 3000 being like, I'm done with music. I can't make anything. My creativity's not there. I just it's never going to happen. And that's his own struggle. I'm not, here to talk about that. But look at these dudes' hands. Let's look at their hands, right? And now let's look at a picture of Outkast. Oop. Right. What are I don't know how much I really. Ooh, someone subscribed. Thank you, whoever that was. I'm gonna take that as a cue real quick. Smash the like button. Do the typical YouTuber thing, but for real, hit the like button. I really appreciate everyone tuning in, continuing to chat. It really does mean a lot. It helps the stream a ton. We broke 200 followers on YouTube over the last week, so we really want to keep pumping that up. Okay, so back to this really quick. Let's look at this picture, right? Right, we got Big Boy and Andre 3000, and let's look at this. I just don't see how anyone could ever get them confused with them, ever, right? First of all, skin color difference, right? These guys they're black, they're African American. These are clearly two tatted white dudes. And if Big Boy and Andre 3000, yeah, it does seem like a stretch, Lysergix. It really does. And it's like, oh, they're wearing masks so people could think it's Outkast, right? But I'm just gonna say this. I'm gonna go to the big cam for this. If you've ever, no one in the EDM community has ever thought ATLiens was Outkast. Not once. And I'll just say I've met them. Back in Austin, there was a show at Concourse where I got the chance to meet them with their masks off. It's not Andre 3000 and Big Boy. And don't you think that they would be way bigger of a deal if it was? Right? And that Andre 3000 and Big Boy had this musical 180 where they're making music that ATLiens makes. They make some of the most pun intended, out of this world bass music. And they're a staple, man. They're OGs in the industry. And I was saying this last week, is what sucks is they were probably so influenced by Outkast, and they being from Atlanta, and it was I took it more as a homage to Outkast, given that they aren't making music anymore and haven't for a very, very long time. Now, I could understand if Outkast was making music still, right? And if they were still putting things out, but they're not. They haven't put out music in such a long time. Big Boy, wasn't he on the Super Bowl? Did he perform at the Super Bowl a few years ago? And Andre 3000 has been outwardly done with music. So why are we teaming up to sue? And maybe it's not actually Outkast doing this. I don't know. But yeah, Lysergic, he said it really well. It seems like a pretty big stretch for them to sue for trademark infringement, basically for saying that, oh, you could get these guys confused with these guys. Not even close, dude. Not even close at all. So, and that's just kind of some of the stuff that I feel like I forgot to say last week. Or I just didn't get around to those thoughts. Nobody thinks these two dudes is Andre 3000 and Big Boy, right? And it wouldn't have taken ATLiens as long as it did, not that it took insanely long, but it wouldn't have taken them as long as it did to for their project to get to the level that it is if they were already outcast. You know, it's clearly two tatted white dudes making bass music from Atlanta. And again, I've always taken the AT-Aliens thing as an homage to Outkast, being from Atlanta and all that stuff. But it feels like a little late. It's 2024. When did Outkast put their last stuff out? Let's check this out. See if we can find their Spotify. When did they put out their last song? Come on. Let's look at this. We're getting investigative here. Wow. They got 1.5 billion streams on Hey Ya. Okay. Show all. Oh, maybe but it's like, I don't understand. Like, so slowed. So a re-release. Looks like another re-release. 2006 was their last album. So now I could understand if they were in here putting, and again, I'm pretty sure that other one is a re-release. Let's look here. And it's not even AT-Aliens, so what does it matter? You know? Let's see. Where maybe it's an original album, I don't know. But even then, like, yeah, 2000. So they re-released an album 20 years later, deluxe version, whatever. And re-released it in 2020. And then, yeah, their last album looks like was 2006. So you haven't released music in almost 20 years, and you're mad about these guys taking an album name, and I guess that's something that maybe they made up, but I don't know. Like, it just seems like so dumb, and just for the main fact that they're not doing anything, that Outkast themselves is not doing anything. It's not like they named themselves Outkast and did that, you know. And so they're claiming they made up the AT-Aliens term. I don't know about that. But I wasn't I think I was 2 when the AT-Aliens album dropped. So it's hard for me to like really say like for sure with confidence. But this seems like kind of dumb for them to continue to just like to sue these guys and go through with it. And then just having, you know, based off of the fact that they wear masks, that they have the same name as their second album, you know, the trademark term or whatever, and that people could potentially think that AT-Aliens is Outkast is absolutely ridiculous. It's absurd. Okay. All right. Quick little intermission here. Please hit the like button. Shout out everyone in the chat continuing to watch. Follow me on Spotify. We're finally above 200 subscribers on YouTube, which is dope. I would like to get to 500 in the next month. That would be tight. Tell the homies about it. And, you know, just continue to tune in each week. Y'all are awesome. Happy Labor Day, by the way. Hope everyone's having a super chill day off. And we'll come back over here. Move over to the next article. Let's see. Actually, I think I'm going to save this one last because it's a little bit boring. It's about Instagram. But this is a little more controversial, this next one. So, from Music Tech, it says, he says, example, resource for producers Some believe artists, particularly